You don't stay disciplined because you're motivated. You stay disciplined because your brain has a system that works even when the emotional soundtrack cuts out. Here's the wild part. When motivation disappears, most people treat it like a power outage. Disciplined people treat it like Tuesday. And if you're thinking, must be nice, don't worry. This isn't a personality lottery. It's psychology. It's learnable. And nobody talks about this in a way that actually feels real. It's 6:12 a.m. Your alarm goes off and your hand does that automatic thing, like it's swatting a fly made of responsibility. You sit up. Your body feels like it's running on 1% battery, and not the low power mode kind, the screen dim, hope dimmer kind. Your brain starts negotiating like a lawyer in sweatpants. You worked hard yesterday. One day won't matter. You'll do it later. You deserve rest. And you do deserve rest. That's not the issue. The issue is this: later becomes tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes when I feel like it. And suddenly your goals are living in the same drawer as spare cables and forgotten dreams. But it gets deeper, because there's a version of you, maybe you've seen them, maybe you've envied them, who still gets up, still writes the page, still does the workout, still ships the work, not perfectly, not joyfully, just consistently. So what's going on inside their head? If motivation is gone and you're struggling, it doesn't mean you're lazy. It usually means you're human. Motivation is a feeling. Feelings fluctuate, like weather, like Wi-Fi. Discipline is more like infrastructure. It's what keeps the lights on when the mood is gloomy. Plot twist: disciplined people don't have more drive. They tend to have better friction design, less reliance on feelings, more reliance on psychology. So let's break down the real mechanisms. 4 of them, numbered, clean, useful, and slightly uncomfortable in a good way. Arousal theory, in simple terms, says performance tends to improve when your body is at the right level of activation, not too sleepy, not too stressed. Disciplined people don't wait to feel inspired. They start small to adjust arousal. They don't ask, do I feel like it? They ask, what's the smallest action that warms the engine? Because your brain is basically an IMAX theater, whatever you focus on becomes huge. If you focus on the whole mountain, you freeze. If you focus on tying your shoes, you move. Here's the wild part. Action often creates the emotional state you thought you needed first. Not always, but often enough to matter. And nobody talks about this. Your lack of motivation is frequently just low arousal plus high friction. Raise activation gently, lower friction aggressively. That's discipline in science clothing. But it gets deeper. Most people think dopamine is the pleasure chemical. It's more accurate to think of it as anticipation and pursuit, the brain's go signal. When motivation feels gone, dopamine tends to be misallocated, not absent, misused. Your brain might still be chasing rewards, just the fast ones, scrolling, sugar, distractions, novelty, tiny hits, quick relief. Disciplined people tend to build a different loop. They make the first step ridiculously easy. They attach a small reward immediately after. They track progress in a visible way, because research suggests small, immediate rewards help sustain behavior long-term more reliably than relying on big future goals. Translation: your brain is a dog. It learns from treats, not speeches. So instead of, I'll feel proud in 6 months, it becomes, I do 5 minutes, then I get a warm shower, coffee, music, or a check mark. The check mark matters more than you think. Your brain loves proof. Proof becomes identity. And that's why your brain also does something else that people misunderstand. Self-determination theory says humans tend to thrive when 3 needs are supported. Autonomy, you choose. Competence, you can improve. Relatedness, you're connected. When you're disciplined because you hate yourself, it usually doesn't last. When you're disciplined because you chose a value, it tends to stick. Disciplined people often rephrase the script in their head. Not I have to, but I choose to because I'm building something. Not I'm behind, but I'm training. Not I'm failing, but I'm collecting reps. That language matters. It's not cheesy. It's neuroscience friendly. It lowers threat. It increases agency. Agency keeps you in the game. Plot twist. Pressure can create action short-term, but autonomy creates consistency long-term. But it gets deeper. Because discipline isn't just internal, it's social. Humans are wired for connection. Attachment patterns shape how safe you feel when things get hard, and mirror neurons help you unconsciously copy the emotional tone and behaviors around you. So when you're around consistent people, your brain starts syncing. Their calm becomes contagious. Their standards become normal. Their "we do this even when we don't feel like it" becomes believable. Disciplined people tend to build identity mirrors, communities, training partners, creators they watch, environments that make consistency feel normal. Not because they're weak, because they're smart. You don't just rise to your goals. You tend to fall to your environment. And nobody talks about this. Sometimes what you call lack of discipline is actually a lonely nervous system trying to self-soothe. Which brings us to a nuanced checkpoint. There's a difference between choosing rest because your body needs recovery versus choosing rest because you're avoiding the emotion that shows up when you try. Healthy preference sounds like, "I'm tired, I'll recover, then I'll return." Avoidance sounds like, "If I don't start, I can't fail. If I don't try, I can't be judged." That's not you being dramatic. That's your brain trying to protect you with a mask, a protective cover that says, "Let's not risk pain today." The goal isn't to rip the mask off. The goal is to gently prove you're safe while you act anyway. But here's the wild part. Disciplined people don't ignore emotions. They contain them. They make room for feelings without letting feelings drive the car. You're not broken. You're not missing something. You're experiencing a normal brain doing normal brain things. Discipline isn't a personality trait. It's a set of psychological levers. Regulate arousal with tiny starts. Route dopamine through small, immediate rewards. Anchor behavior in autonomy and competence. Use social mirroring to stabilize your nervous system. And this trait usually connects to one more behavior. The way disciplined people handle setbacks is completely different, and it's the real reason they keep growing when others stall. So here's my question for you. When motivation disappears, what's the first excuse your brain tries to sell you? And what would a 2-minute start look like instead? Drop it in the comments. I read them, and it helps other people feel less alone. If you want the next piece of this puzzle, subscribe, because in the next video, we're going into the psychology of why disciplined people bounce back fast after they slip, and why your brain might interpret a single missed day as identity failure. Plot twist: it's not about willpower. It's about how your brain tells stories. And once you learn that, you stop restarting your life every Monday.